Drewe, welcome to Mansfield Town Football Club. You're the new performance coach under John Dempster. How did it come about?
Well, John reached out to me last year in his role as the under-18s coach and asked me to come and speak to the players on the stuff I've been doing over the last 8 years since retiring. And then obviously he got the first team manager's job this season. We've stayed in touch, and I just felt I'm in a very lucky position. I work with players privately on what it takes to perform, the mental side and the pressures, and I've got a great life, but I was missing the buzz, missing pressure, believe it or not, adrenaline, and I said to him, look, I think I've got a lot of value to add, and I'd like to test myself with a team. So that's what I'm doing here.
You've been working with some top players recently. Tell us more.
Yeah, so I finished playing 8 years ago, and it's a long old story. I had mental health issues, ended up in rehab post playing all this stuff. But I'd studied human movement and injury, so I built a business for 4 years working with. I had a lot of top players working privately at their houses in our company. You know, 4 or 5 at Arsenal, from Oxlade-Chamberlain to Walcott at the time. A young Harry Kane when he was having some groin and hamstring issues on loan at Millwall. Craig Bellamy employed me to work with him at Cardiff. So Stephen Colcrow, I was working with a lot of top guys privately, offering different guys, different solutions. And then it wasn't my passion. My passion, I always felt, didn't fulfill my potential. I always felt there's something massively wrong with the game in this side, you know, the pressure side, and obviously mental health is now huge. And I started, it was a friend of a friend, it was a top young player, and he was really struggling, and this friend of a friend was telling me about it and said, can I put you in touch? You went through some stuff. We started talking. He started doing really well, word of mouth. I knew a couple of journalist friends, and then they were speaking to people at England under-21 get-togethers, agents, and they'd ring me, and just started to go a bit crazy. So I got away from doing as much of the physical stuff, although I still condition a couple of senior lads at the houses, but just the mental side, just talking to players before games, after games, all week, making sure that when they cross the white line, that they can be as free and as expressive as they can be, and we can look at fear and the pressure, which is obviously there's pressure here, there's pressure everywhere, and still be free and creative. And very much, I think what Gareth Southgate's done with England, they talk about emotional intelligence. I think I'm a massive believer in that, you know.
So how do you go about enhancing and improving a player's mentality / mental approach?
Conversations, honest conversations, you know, feelings, how you're feeling. You know, because the thing is, for me, this is hard people to understand. And, you know, I was a lower league target man, number 9, stitches, and people go, oh, he's tough and horrible, Drewe Broughton. Deep down, I was a sensitive guy, you know, and I'd go on the pitch with a million thoughts. Got to play well, don't give the ball away, got to win the ball in the air. When the ball goes there, don't do that. And your head would be fried, and then you don't play well, and then you get subbed, and then you're in the reserves, and that cycle, and somehow you're on the treadmill for 17 years. And I just needed someone to say to me before the game, what's going on in your head? How are you? What are you thinking about? And strip it back and go, look, it's all right to be scared. Pressure. Didn't have a great game the other night. We lost 4-0. You know, as players, you've just been beaten 4-0. You've got to go out Saturday afternoon and you've got to go, give me that ball again. And that's the hardest thing to do, you know. So I kind of have those softer conversations in and around the manager's great work and Gloves' great work. I'm able to just have those little conversations and present to the team as well, 5-10 minute presentations on some motivation stuff and that stuff. Yeah.
You experienced your first training session with the players this morning. What were your first impressions, Drewe?
You know, as been in this game 25 years now, it was a great training session. Tempo, intensity, really good players, and I know probably man for man, probably the strongest squad in the league. It was really good, but this is the tragedy. You go to most training grounds. I trained how many training sessions over 17 years? A lot. And many days I'd be unbelievable in training, and on a pitch I'd be terrible. So 9 out of 10 in training, 4 out of 10 on a Saturday at best. So why is that? So this morning, 9 out of 10. So let's work really hard to try and make sure we can replicate that. And I was able to, through video through videos, and I was able to spend some time last night after I spoke to the manager, and I watched back the game from the other night, and I hadn't seen it. And I thought the first half was excellent. I thought it was played at tempo. People were having courage and taking the ball off the goalkeeper and passing quick. Balls down the channel, chances, shots. And of course, it's easy to go, we lost 4-0, but my job is to make the players, and we've done some stuff this morning. I cut up some clips last night of the brilliant things the other night. Let's just keep doing that. And the wins will come, the draws will come, everything will come. But you know, you have to be big enough to look at the 4-0 and go, it hurts. We're under pressure. People are going to be on us, and you have to take that and go, no, let's focus on that brilliant stuff that was going on. Yeah.
For absolute clarity,
Yeah.
what is your role here? What has been your brief? What are your targets?
My role is to make sure that the players are fit, strong, using my experience in that world, and to be that psychologist, mental coach, that guy who's going to work with the players on the mental side of the game. So I can let John do the stuff that a manager needs to do, let Gloves do the stuff on the training ground that he needs to do, and I will do that other side.
Along with you, Lee Glover, the assistant manager, and the first team manager, John Dempster, how do you go about getting more out of these players?
They'll do what they'll do. I have the softer conversations in corridors, on a match day, on the pitch and doing the warm-up, an arm around someone, how you feeling, what's going on. Okay, when you just all these little softer, gentler conversations in and around, no big, and let the manager do that, the presentations and the team talks, and that's their stuff. So I'm kind of, one of the I've worked in the corporate world for the last couple of years coaching, and the owner of one of the companies I work for in London said to me, it's almost like a funny name. It's like you're director of humans doing better, or it's hard. I just think football is not as complicated as sometimes it is, but pressure can play havoc with people, and so I dealing with pressure.
You've given some very insightful answers so far, Drew, but I just want to know, in summary, what type of performance coach are you?
What type? What does that mean? What type?
Well, I suppose as a coach you've got all sorts of styles, haven't you? What style do you fit into? Because some perhaps rule with a bit more of an iron fist, others, as you say, less so. There are many different variations.
Yeah, no one responds to the iron fist. No one plays better when you're getting an iron fist. Who does? It's ridiculous. Go and listen to Mike Tyson. All these tough people talk about that. But it's about knowing that, look, life's hard, football's hard, you're going to have to run, get a sweat on, it's going to hurt. There's no grey areas. It's a strong squad. If you're not at it, someone will come in and replace you. So there has to be the right fear, but then it has to be. So what kind of performance coach am I? I just believe in it's just quite simple. You get people feeling good and emotionally feeling good, they'll play well. Yeah.
This, I suppose, is the big question. When do you expect to make an impact?
Quick. I know you'll see players tomorrow playing freer. I'm not bothered with wins and losses. That's a byproduct. You have to be big enough to go, that's down the road. They come. Wins and draws come. What you have to do is start to get people to believe and free them up and get them to take pressure on the shoulders. And so, you'll see tomorrow. And I'm watching the manager in Gloves this morning. Brilliant, full positive, and it's a great session. So it was good the other night. 4-0 is not a reflection of that game. So it'll be big enough to take that.
Interesting what you say about pressure, Drew. Do you see a certain amount of pressure within this squad?
I think it's every squad, every single squad. The reason Manchester City and Liverpool probably run away with it, and Pochettino at Spurs, is because those managers and the people, their staff around them. I know a couple of people in my role that do similar things, and the players play expressively and free. Of course, there's some of the best players in the world, but Mansfield in this league have got some of the best players. So every player plays with pressure. So it's if every team was honest and the players were honest and you had enough time asking them the right questions, they'd all say the same thing.
How important was your relationship with John Dempster in coming to Mansfield?
Really important. Yeah, and when he reached out to me last year, I thought, damn, Demps, yeah, he's doing that. It's brilliant. I mean, I remember playing with him at Rushton and Diamonds when Rushton was a fully functioning, really good football club, and I just remember him being a really good guy, just a good guy. Humble but tough, he was a centre half. I was a centre forward, so I played against him enough times. John, he's not weak. He's a tough guy, a good man. I just thought he's the kind of person. I'm working in the shadows, but I thought I could work for John because he's a good person, and there's no ego, and that was the key thing really.
You've certainly got that buzz. That's obvious.
I have, because I've got a very privileged life today, but I don't have to be anywhere. All my work had been remote, on the phone with players. I miss pressure. I miss pressure. I like pressure. It makes you feel alive. So I think, and that's my message to players. You embrace that, and let's embrace it, and let's run all over it.
Very finally, what do you want to achieve here?
Well, just what should happen. This club's straight up this year. Get up into the next league. Let's get it done. I mean, that's the remit. I was speaking to the captain, Piercy, and I've had some battles with him. And funny enough, I didn't realise he was 18 when I played against him. He was the strongest guy I've ever played against. But I was asking him, and he said, "No, we've got a really, really strong squad. So let's get up. That's what it's about."
Appreciate your time, Drew.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.